I'm Emma and this is Emma Rosen Books, and today I wanted to talk about CampNaNoWriMo. So I've been taking part for April. It's my first experience of it because although I do already have a book that I've published, it took me 8 years to write it, so I didn't take part in any kind of thing that made me write it any faster. But the nature of that book was totally different, whereas the book I'm working on right now, sorry the dog's joining me. Hello! Have you come to say hello? Hey. Are you joining me on my YouTube channel? Yeah? So because this book, I would like to have it out at the beginning of next year, I want to get through the first draft. And I thought that it was an ideal opportunity, the timing worked out really well for me to do Camp Nano. I see other people talking about it, and I've seen loads of people vlogging it and doing like tips, videos and all that kind of thing, but I'm just starting out and I kind of wanted to make a video about my experience with it and what I thought and what I found out. So I set myself a goal of 50,000 words, which I think broke down to about 1,500 words a day, which seemed totally doable. When I sat down and wrote, I was easily writing that much, sometimes more, but for me it was about sitting down and doing it every day. So, because I've got 3 children, if you're new to this channel, and so sometimes it can be really hard for me to find the time. But I thought, oh, it'll be okay, I'll just write every evening, and then on my working days I can probably get through more than 1,500 words. And so, easy, 50,000 words in a month, no problem. And about the first week was fine, because that was exactly what was happening. On my writing days, I was getting through more, and that was making up for the days where I wasn't writing very much, and I was pretty much on target for the first week. Then the second week was the beginning of the school holidays, and I thought that would be fine, because actually there's things like sometimes my kids sit and watch a movie, obviously sometimes my husband looks after them, sometimes I have I think I did 1 work day that week, I might have done 2, I forget. It can be more difficult during the summer holidays. I think it was just 1. And you know, evenings and so forth. Basically I must have only written about 500 words in that week because it was just too much. The biggest impact on that was the fact that we went away on holiday to Madeira. I'll link the vlog of our trip. So any time I did have, like when my kids were out with my husband or with my in-laws or anything like that, I was having to use the time to pack and to do like admin bits, and we also had days where we went shopping to get bits for, you know, clothes that we needed, where the kids had grown out of their summer clothes and all that kind of stuff. So there was a lot of like sorting, so I just didn't have the time to sit down and write. And then the times when I did have the time, I had other bits of admin that I needed to do, so it just was really, really hard for me to keep up. Then we went away, and I thought, well, that would be great, because we were staying with my in-laws, so you know, there's how many adults? 4 adults looking after 3 children, so we'd be able to divide the time and I'd get a little bit more time on my own. And it did happen. I didn't do too badly, actually. I wrote, I don't know how I would have averaged, but I would guess at about 1,000 words a day. But then I felt like I was sitting and writing in the evenings, which meant that me and my husband weren't like sitting and watching films and, you know, or he'd be watching something and I'd just be typing. Or I was forcing myself to stay up and write when I was absolutely shattered from a day out. So it was really good in that it made me kind of go, no, I've got to do it because I've got to try and keep up because I've already had a week out, and it made me make the effort to write. But then I feel like it impacted on us. By the way, it's probably relatively unusual for people to take their writing with them on holiday, but it's something I've done probably for about the last 10 years. When I started training as a teacher, that's the first time I ever did it. I took loads and loads of books with me when we went away just before I started teaching, and then I did a master's degree, and my work, the assignment parts would always be set over the school holidays, and so that would be when we would go away on holiday, and I would nearly always have work to do, and it's a habit that I've got into. So my family are used to me working while we're away, and that kind of never really stops for me. I do sometimes not take anything with me, but yeah, I know lots of people would say, no, I'm on holiday, I'm not doing it, but yeah, I don't know that it's necessarily a good habit, but it's a thing that I do. Anyway, so yeah, I did okay while we were in Madeira, and then when we got back, I've been doing all right, but I wasn't managing to make up for the week that I lost. And then I decided partway through our time in Madeira actually that I wanted to go back over my manuscript, because I was struggling with kind of the cohesiveness of it a little bit, like it wasn't flowing, and that was meaning I was struggling to kind of know where it was going. So I thought, well, I'm going to go back, and that will help me to kind of feel it and see where the characters are going a little bit more. And I don't know, it felt like that was important. Then that obviously slowed me down, because although I was fleshing out those chapters, that's a lot slower than a first draft. I know you're supposed to just type out your first draft and not go back and edit, but you know. And then as I was reaching the end of doing that, which was about 3 or 4 days ago, I decided that the point of view was wrong, and that was why I was struggling, because I wasn't getting into the head of my main character, and so I felt like her personality kept changing, and I felt like I was struggling when she was reacting to a situation with trying to describe how she felt from a third person point of view, and trying to show it through kind of her actions and the things she said. And doing that was creating a distance from her, and my book is not a multiple point of view, it is just her point of view, so there was no reason why it couldn't be a first person point of view. And I thought, oh well, I'll trial it, because maybe it's just because my last book is about me, so it is first person, because it's written from my perspective, so maybe it's just because it's what I'm used to. So I went back to the first chapter and re-edited it to first person point of view, and it felt so much more comfortable, and it flowed better, and it made more sense, and I was like, yes, now I get what her character is, and it just felt so much better. So I thought, you know what, I had about, I don't know, 4 days left of Camp Nano, and I think I would have had to write, it was something like 8,000 words a day to be able to make my target, and I was just like, forget it. I thought even if I can get close, that would be cool, or just keep going and see where I get to. And I thought, I'm going to go back and edit this, because there's no point me carrying on and having a section that's in first person and a section that's in third person, and it just, you know, it doesn't matter, it didn't work out. So no, I didn't win Camp Nano, and that's why. we had school holidays, we went on holiday, and then I suddenly decided to start editing my manuscript in the middle of it, and then changed the point of view. But what I will say is it was a very positive experience, because it helped me to just sit down, and instead of going, oh, what will happen? Oh, I think I'll plot for a bit, or, you know, to actually just say, I have to get the words down, I'm just going to sit down and write, and not worry necessarily about the quality. And what surprised me was when I was going back, where I thought things had just been total dross, that actually they were all right and needed minimal editing, and that your perception as you're writing it isn't always right. So yeah, CampNaNoWriMo was a really positive experience, and I would definitely do it again, but I'm not going to beat myself up for not winning it, because it still had the positive effect of motivating me, and I liked being part of that community and seeing people in the cabins and seeing people tweeting about it. And I see things on AuthorTube, you know, people talking about Nano, and I feel like I'm not part of it, so it's nice to have had that experience, so I feel like I get it. So yeah, I'm really glad I did it, and I definitely would do it again. But this book, so I'm something like 22,000 words in, and I think I wrote about 13,000 as part of Camp Nano. So, you know, it's still good, but and it's not really about word count, is it? And I've definitely made progress, and according to my stats on Camp Nano, I will finish my first draft in July, which actually, with the timescale of this book not being out until next year, that's totally fine. So yeah, it was positive, and I'm really glad that I did it. I'd be really interested in what your experiences of CampNaNoWriMo are, what you think of it, and if you would do it, and how you got on with it, and all that kind of thing. And tips and tricks as well. Make sure that you fill the comments up with useful things for other people. Please like this video if you did, and please subscribe for more videos about reading and about writing. My dog has turned her back on me. Don't you love me? Dolly! Hey, you wanna come and say hi? Hello. Ugh. Well, that's a way to end the video. Thanks! Bye!